Consistency is going to be difficult, Jacob. But look, Min11 said it. All it takes is one big match. There's only 3 games that are going to be played out today in the upper bracket. And if you don't make it through after those 3 games, you have another shot in lowers. But one big game, Jacob, is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, we saw Sato and Andalex have a big game yesterday. Unfortunately enough, the situation was wildly different. It was win and you're in. Those big games only allowed them to advance to the upper bracket round 3, in which we're seeing here. And you got Aqua and Noah Riley on the other side of this split drop. And this is where it's going to get interesting, because immediately you see them all making the conscientious decision to just boot up as much as possible before that possible engagement.
Look, even thinking back in the regular finals format, which is 6 matches long, being contested makes it extremely difficult to stay consistent. But hitting those sniper shots could be what it takes. What I'm getting at is having an uncontested drop spot is going to give you a huge advantage in terms of getting those points consistently if you're able to constantly get to the end game. But you know, if you're contested, one big game is going to mean 2 quick eliminations off the start to help you with that damage.
Noah was feeling confident there after his snipe. See him and Aqua slowly but surely moving up, but they answer back. I believe it was Andalex with a nice snipe, and they go flying through the sky. But Sato with a bad bounce on the crash pad. He goes flying right into the hands of Noah and Aqua. He goes down very, very early on, and that leaves already at the start of the game Andalex with a huge decision. Do I try to be a hero? Do I try to play hide and seek to try to get my teammates reboot card?
Miss comms. I believe Sato here ended up using the Flowberry crash pad combination, while Andalex did not have the Flowberry activated. And that is what caused that engagement to come to a conclusion. Now left as a solo. It's going to make things much more difficult.
Yeah, and it's difficult for Noah and Aqua, even though they did get the elimination. All of their loot, because it was contested, taken away, and you can already see they have to go forward looking for those shields in which they lost long ago. But Takata, King, and Phaser, I know you had a lot to say about them before the show.
I got a smile on my face right now, Jacob. We were talking about them. 33rd first week qualifiers, did an amazing job, but complete opposite in the following week. So I'm curious now where they put up in a consistency format to see what they can do. But just time will tell.
Yeah, high hopes for them, coming all the way over from the Brazil region, competing on one of the most stacked regions we have in Fortnite EU. That's a challenge right there, and honestly, I give them all the credit in the world, because it's not only about Fortnite, but just living somewhere else in general. But we got this double agents, Mongrel and Savage, 009, 008, just trying to rotate on out. It did look like they were feeling confident to take that early game fight, but with the third parties looming around every single corner, they know it's not necessarily safe and it's a risk, so they're just going to disengage, get more loot, and you can already see they need the loot.
5 builds, 008. Have to make sure here that they're kitted, especially when they're going to go for those tags up close and personal. You do see that Reaper Snifle in hand. So if they can land one big shot, that could be enough.
A lot of teams, we saw this yesterday, slowly but surely floating around some of these positions, but the third party can instantly get third party on the minimap. It shows it, but they're going to go in on the Clownski. They figure they have an advantage that they're going to try to take advantage of. Rolls is too far split, but that third party just puts a whole thorn in the side. Mahi's forced to play defensive. He boxes up. His teammates reunite, and that plan to get aggressive just got turned on its side. And various tarps, I was looking at these guys, and he's one of those ones that are flying under the radar. And we've seen some new qualifiers, their first FNCS Grand Finals yesterday, and here's a chance with a couple players in the lobby today to get there first.
Be careful though. It's Pixel up in the bush. Gets a surprise attack on to the duo rotating out. And it looks like right now the fiesta has commenced. 3-4 duos in the same area as Mahi Topco quickly realize the danger and start to disengage.
Gotta be careful, even though the zone doesn't pull too far off from when they're typically at. There's a lot of teams on this side, which means a possibility, potential, expending a lot of heals and resources just to make it there. As Doe and Aqua finally find Andalex. They knew eventually he was going to go back for that reboot card. And this is their moment to strike. It's not only for the elimination points, but for Surge and the loot that he maybe was able to gather along his way. But he's going over towards Snooty Steps, hoping a contested drop is going to be enough to hide his position, but they're hot on his heels. They don't want to let this elimination get away, and they don't want to let it take too much longer. As you see them continuously going up and over, but the Frenzy not doing too much damage. It's just whittling away little by little until eventually Pixie and Walk steal that elimination out of the hands of Noah and Aqua.
Andalex now planning what is going to be the change for the second match in the early game to be able to come out on the other end. It isn't the end, even with 3 matches to be played out. But we'll take a look here. Forecast Tower, and it looks like it might not even be contested.
Now, Gears and Chari looks like it's freebie for them. Not so much the loot they're after, but just the ability to see every single zone as it appears, to be able to kind of predict your rotations, really set out a plan for the future. And you're seeing a lot of teams this time around, compared to yesterday, uncontested yet again. Back-to-back forecasts going over to a team that didn't really have to fight for it, which is great for their game. So I want to see how they continue to use that uncontested advantage.
A lot of players in this current meta have been making use of the bushes instead of having, you know, to kind of build your 1x1, 2x2, especially if you have a sniper rifle in hand to kind of look for those tags, or even just with an AR as teams are rotating. Conserve materials, you could even surprise duos, but it's happened so much that now every time you pass a bush, you're gonna make sure in the back of your head, you know that there's a possibility that there's a duo crouched up in there. As we take a look at Seti now alongside Cammy, one of our picks today to take it home. We know how consistent they've been in the past.
Yeah, and watching back some of their games, day 1, a little bit slow. They picked up the pace. Day 2, they made it rather far into those games. Cammy had a ton of heals. Just eventually went down at the wrong time in back-to-back games that kind of slowed their run, especially when it was looking so good. Same thing for Mixin and Pings. They had high ground at the end of one of those games, and that's the thing. It was the trend of yesterday with high ground teams winning most of those games. It was losing it at the wrong moment, but Scrolls seems like he's under pressure. It's going to be an easy elimination for Mixin. Pings and him off to a good start with 2 total eliminations in the early game.
Good way to start it off by the Reckless Railways. This is where King and Phaser also drop. I believe you can see some arrows a bit more north. The good news in a POI like this, there's so much loot that you don't necessarily have to take the engagement if you want to give up the NPC. However, it does give you that extra loot needed to get that one big pop-off game that could qualify you to the grand finals.
So everyone's kind of trying to do here, play that slow and steady type of game. As the day progressed, for day 1 and 2, you saw the aggression ramp up over time each and every game. But now it's Robound and Axe Force that are creeping into the distance, and Mongrel and Savage. A couple of shots being fired over in that direction, but nothing really to feel confident about. So they're going to quickly disengage, continue to farm up. They're barely on the edge of zone right now, and this is the part of the game, Takata, where weapon caches start to appear.
Forecast towers have been captured. The caches beginning to start here. And for Mongrel and Savage, they might have just got themselves into an engagement here, but this is not a healthy one. So many duos up above, down below. It's like a little sandwich that's been made, as now Rabob is looking to find an angle.
And we got Doxy and Cade down there. They're kind of sandwiched onto Axe Force. That's why Roban has to be able to alleviate some of this pressure, and he does so perfectly while maintaining his position to disengage. Axe Force finds the safety, and they leave that mess behind. That's something in a lobby like this you don't want to take part of. You got Yapko on the backside along with his duo, box to box with Savage and Mongrel, and it's underneath the bridge as well. So you're not really going to find Surge other than the players that are next to you.
It's a very difficult place to have an engagement like this. You can see already, though, Diox looks like is going to be the one that's going to be able to secure this first cache. I believe there is 2, though, which is why there's so many players around here. You can see Mongrel Savage is going to be the duo that's taking the other cache. So for these 2 duos, they will be getting a bit of an extra loot.
Yeah, if you guys are at home wondering who is who's this 008, who's this 009, they're secret agents trying to go undercover and sneak out a huge consistent day. 009 is going to be Mongrel, 008 is going to be Savage. But they're still not straying too far off from their position. And there's no real reason to if they have that early game surge. But you can see them toying with the idea, looking in front, looking behind. They're trying to continue to move forward underneath the bridge, and that's going to be their path to safety.
You can see at the bottom right on the mini-map how many duos are in this surrounding area. It's good for getting that damage and tags, but at the same time, one mistake, getting cracked, could cost you the match.
And since they're already in zone, everybody realistically on this position, because you can throw in Howley and Frizzy in that same grouping, is you're so far deep in zone already compared to everybody else outside of the zone. You really don't have to make too many moves unless you're kind of forced to with Storm Surge. And that's why it's important with a lot of teams to plan your game properly. Moneymaker and Fnayan back to the upper bracket side of things, had a hiccup on day one, but they've earned the right to be here with their placement in that lower bracket. They're just trying to go ahead and really execute in their game plan. They're just full of so much skill, but they're also, Moneymaker specifically, one of the youngest competitors we have in Fortnite competitive. So sometimes it comes with age, comes with experience, and a snipe shot like that is something I feel like a duo like this, if they want to get aggressive, they can take advantage of.
Back on track to making a bit of money here if you can continue landing those sniper shots, but all they're looking for now is positioning damage and waiting here as the fourth zone will appear in just 7 seconds. The players will be able to see what's next. What are the next steps here? But for Putasai Snazy, the next steps are to come out on top in this battle.
Yeah, just judging by the loot right now, they weren't necessarily able to get their cash and could possibly fighting over. That's Nebs and eye drop on the other side. And you're seeing the smart pistol come out more and more and more for teams trying to deal with that surge. Shoots so quick, it locks on, especially in this meta with the grapple blades, the crash pads. With a high position, that'll definitely help you handle that problem. Cash is going to be found, and that's going to be able to kind of pick up and bolster their loadout overall. And it's not typically until maybe the 7th, 8th zones to where you see that smart pistol switched out for some sort of AR or SMG.
There's a different vibe here, Jacob. 86 players up still. 44 duos. There has not been a lot of engagements right off the spawn. You can see how stacked this game is going to get. As now Rift Island for Ski and Hen.
Yeah, uncontested like we've seen most of the day so far throughout the past two. There's no real reason to go up there, especially with so many rifts down below. You don't get points, and there's no reboot van up there. But Vaske and Hen just kind of capturing it, trying to see what more they can add to their loadout. Depending on what AR they like, that can be a huge boost. You see the Thunderburst getting dropped as well. A couple switches out, a couple upgrades coming out from Hen. He likes what he sees. He's going to keep his position on the high ground due to the elevation, due to the launch pads up there. That's going to allow him a free rotation to the zone when it does pull far away.
Not only launch pads, there are rifts that appear below the Rift Island, where you'll see duos kind of box up around and wait for the right moment to use them and help them rotate right onto zone. DKS Fox, though, they do have the flow berries in inventory. Duo partner might have the crash pads to get a little combo. And so far, it looks like they have secured a cache earlier on, so they're just picking up the extra loot and now do have to continue towards zone.
Yeah, and we saw DKS and Vox in week 1 start off FNCS on fire. But unfortunate circumstances, they kind of slipped up, fell down. Now they need top 25 here to advance directly to the grand finals. They're going to find a lot of loot along the way, kind of refresh some of those resources and continue moving forward. With the 200 damage above the threshold, that's not necessarily a worry for them for now. And to kind of point out, you talked about a different feel in these lobbies. Throughout the past 2 days, it wasn't typically until Zone 6 Storm Surge started to activate. And now here, since it is so stacked, it's in on Zone 4. And that's like foreshadowing what we're going to see today throughout this lobby.
Cold-blooded players right now, realizing that they need to get damage. Nobody is getting eliminated. Everybody's boxed up beside each other. Mongrel has been cracked already. Looks like they got into a fight. They were 49 below. We've seen them struggle with Surge before, and they cannot make the same mistake again.
Yep, now they have to go. We've seen Savage clutch up big. There goes a first 50 tag. They're barely going to get over, but he's not done just yet. Axe Force on the run. Shot continuing to land as well, but not much, which is why they're still on the chase. They fall below. They go right back up. They're playing teeter-totter with Storm Surge, trying to find the damage. Roban's going to be found, but it's a decision Savage might regret, but at the same time, it was a sacrifice, because look how far up above Surge they are now, and I said sacrifice for a reason, because Mongrel goes down.
Savage now left as a solo. Last two shield fish have been popped. No more consumables to work with. 4 crash pads is the only mobility he has. But Savage must scavenge as many points as possible in this match, as it's all about consistency.
He's gonna have to find some sort of scraps, either through elimination or an elimination that somebody was able to grab, because needs the HP, needs the extra shields. Luckily, though, the risk that he took early on, 101 above the damage threshold, which is no cause for concern now, but you see him immediately dropping down that Storm Surge leaderboard, so he knows some sort of damage is having to come through, and it has to be quickly, because he has no heals to keep healing if Storm Surge starts taking him down.
Double pickaxe comes through. Howley, Frizzy, be careful. Savage as he quickly escapes the scenario, although the pressure is still on. Zone's closing. 20 seconds until it reaches its end. And now the engagement comes back once again, but Savage is going to be the one coming out on top. Floppers need to be popped.
That was a huge find and a huge elimination. And he has so many heals. It's still 1 tick on the zone. If this pulls away from fencing fields, we have a small chance. But a chance indeed for a Mongrel reboot back into the game. If Malibuca did it on day 1, why not Savage here?
Look, we saw history be made during these semifinals, and you said it, Jacob. I want to see it happen once again.
Still going to take some time to make that a possibility. Cammy getting elimination while this is going down. Glad to see him and Seti beginning to heat up here in this game, but there's still 12 teams that need to go down before placement points even exist in this lobby.
Has some flow berries now. This will grant that mobility boost, which will help Savage get into zone. The issue is so many duos boxed up already, waiting for players to wander on in slowly. The good news, though, it is 6 zone. He is able to stay in zone quite a bit, using bandages, using these floppers, and ideally, and kind of take his time to possibly even pick up Mongrel here from the reboot van, and then get more of an edge rotate into Storm, where hopefully not as many duos are looking back on them.
Yeah, and he is keeping track. You saw the med kits, you saw the flow berries, you saw a lot of that loot. That's exactly where they're gonna drop. That's exactly their plan to get back into this game. This could be the moment for Savage and Mongrel that they look back if they get a top placement and said, thank you so much. And Levin, Mini, Frankie, they all broke it down. This has been a phenomenal season for Savage himself, but can he keep it up?
Shots come through on Mongrel as he gets rebooted, now forced to quickly loot up, scavenge what was left behind from the eliminations, and hopefully get a bit of those bandages or floppers from Savage. But as the zone starts pulling, Diox is smelling the fear alongside Cade as they hunt this newly rebooted duo.
Yeah, they have to be wondering how strong they actually are, because they were on the front side of zone. They were the ones making the rotation as that 50-50 opened up. So they have to know that these players are weak. So interesting enough, not going to get aggressive, but they're going to continue to follow in their trail. Of course, they have to get to zone themselves. So for Savage and Mongrel, even though you got back into the game, the work has just begun.
Huge 7th zone for them. Actually kind of assisting them with the pull, as now we can even see back to King and Phaser, also below, only 24, but with the crack from King, the pressure is now on.
It's just one of those tough situations. Storm Surge doing so much damage, and now shots coming in, so you took a lot of HP and shield getting drained just like that, and they're still getting ticked away. Luckily, they do have the med kits, but it can only last for so long. They're hoping to out heal it, or maybe let an opportunity come to them, but they're so far away from everybody else that has to get near them. I don't think it's going to be a possibility. Phaser goes down. King stuck. 50 HP. He does have a med kit, but time is running out.
2 more ticks is all King can take. Will those tags be enough to keep him above 78? 1 tick and 2 HP. Has 4 medkits, but their opponents are pushing now. 1 shot from Annie duo in the surrounding area would be enough to eliminate King, but it looks like he might just have time to pop this medkit.
Noah, Seti, and Cammy just went sliding down the mountain right behind them. See a replay. Savage and Mongrel. Relvis just trying to hide in the attic, trying to find some safety, but they sniffed him out, sent him back down to the lobby. Back on board with King, who's a solo, and you see him not really able to use the full effective of that med kit. Spots some loot in the distance. He's hoping it's shields. He saw the rarity, so I don't think he's gonna find what he's looking for, but at least it's a chance for him to move closer to zone.
So many materials, it's just lacking those shields, and that damage is gonna be the issue here. As King gets closer and closer to the zone, he kind of looks for that opportunity to take some shots, but King, look to your right, grapples onto an opponent, makes it closer to zone, still up and running, as now Mongrel and Savage have been taken out.
Unfortunate with how well they've been doing up into this game, but we move on to the next. No placement points being awarded for now, so very, very crucial for King to be able to stay alive, but he can't take another tick. Medkit's gonna be started. Did he get it off in time? No, he did not. Just a few seconds shy. They get eliminated out of the lobby, but there's still 2 more games left. So if you saw your favorite player go down, there's still a chance.
They have more opportunities, but for the players in this match now, laser focus is what we need from them. Pixie and Walks, already 2 elims on the board. It's bumped them up 110 above the Storm Surge threshold. Cammy and Seti right beside them. 8th zone has pulled towards the southwest. It's on the closer side to a lot of these duos, but you can see how quickly the Storm Surge can change. Already 28 below.
Yeah, closer side doesn't always mean the best side, especially with more than half the lobby is positioned there as well. Pixie and Walk staggering themselves, letting a couple of teams behind them before the Flowberry Fizz comes out, and this is how they're going to make their quick rotations on over. The extra distance due to the Flowberry Fizz is going to make this one look easy. While all that is happening, they fall 28 below the damage threshold, so they're going to use this chance, now that they're at the front side of the zone, to look back and try to get some shots onto any suspecting players.
Good job from Pixie to elevate himself there, giving himself more vision onto the players that are rotating back in towards them now. Cammy and Seti, though, choosing to stay on the borderline of zone here. And with just 1 second left, we'll see with that first moving pulse.
It was far away. Count on one hand how many teams got that front side of the zone, as Pixie still getting damaged out by Storm Surge. Luckily he has the medallion, but he gets tagged back. And that is it. The damage, the peak, the risk he took is the same reason why he goes down to Storm Surge, because you do not get knocked, you just get eliminated. So Wax is going to be left by himself. I will say the blessing out of all of that is the amount of heals he was able to get from Pixie going down.
1 tick from Storm Surge combined with the sniper shot from his opponent is what Pixie led him to his demise. As now Walks has to clutch it out as a solo. He does have full materials, legendary, mythic loadout, 3 medkits, everything except for damage to make it happen.
And we got Hen and Vaske on the high ground, trying to hold on to it, and they are reinforced with metal and brick, double connected, 192 above the damage threshold. If the trend continues from yesterday, we might be looking at a Hen and Vaske win.
I mean, they have the height, they have the medkits, but are they going to be able to close it out? Cade with 5 eliminations, Diox with 2, total of 7 for the duo. They are looking strong.
Yeah, they found the mythic hammer pump, the medallion as well, and then all those max. You see him at 150. He is maxed up right now, and this is a chance for them if they just want to look up. They could threaten for that high ground, but for now, they're slow and steady, moving towards the front side of zone. Blaha uses his teammate Yapko with very little build, so he's trying to recycle, maneuver in and out of every single one of the builds that were left behind for him. But this is where push comes to shove. With so many teams pushing in from the backside of zone, he has to hurry.
Butrick, I'm seeing solo after solo. Everybody has been losing their duo in these final moments. So much chaos from the Storm Surge that popped so early on. Everybody has ran out of materials, ran out of loot, and now it's all about these impacts.
Yep. We saw the early eliminations for Noah, along with his former teammate Aqua, who went down. You see him trying to slide to the front side, running out of builds fast, especially if he becomes the target. He uses what little he has to try to create a little bit more of a safety net in a full box, but he still has to continue to move forward in zone.
Pixel healing off Ski Hand still up above, uncontested in the clouds as Cade and Diox continue their wrath. 8 eliminations now for the duo, going for double digits.
Yeah, they have the 3 med kits, but I feel like multiple teams feel like this game is going to go down to a heal off. Looking to the backside, Noah gets spotted out, shots being sprayed through. Lazen gets targeted as well. Nice opportunity for Cade and Diox to pick up more eliminations in the end game. Seti goes down. Lazen gets finished off along with Pootrick to the zone. Everybody is dropping like flies.
10 elims for the duo, but now Cammy left alone. Seti has been knocked out. He has just 1 build to work with, but the 3 med kits. Does he choose to take the heal off early, or does he continue with the fight?
He had a couple blunders yesterday, not even being able to make it into this point of the game. So the first med kit's going to be used to stagger himself behind, try to bypass everybody else that's moving forward. But with the zone going up the mountain, it's going to cause a little bit of a roller coaster of emotions for Cade and Diox as they're trying to work their way up.
Ski Hand still up above, but now the contestation, it could be coming through. Diox grapples up. Cade still looking for an opportunity as medkits are being popped.
Stagger himself one more. You got to be careful with the storm that you are taking. Storm sickness has shut down heal off victories before as Cade continues to move through. An elimination right before his very eyes, but him and his teammate Diox dropped to just very little HP. Win condition possibly going out the window, especially with Hen and Vaske having the high ground.
Advantage. 200 effective HP and shield for the duo up above. Diox, Cade down below, barely any HP or shield to work with. This is gonna come down to a brawl.
Han has to be careful though, even though he does have 3 med kits. He's getting very, very close to Cade and Diox at the bottom, but Vaske is gonna drop down. The first shot's gonna hit, but it's gonna be a come and trade. Han still trying to stay with zone. This is very, very risky because one well-placed shot will take him down, but with Vaske playing disruptor, that's where the heal off is going to begin for them.
Medkits look to come through, but Cade is the one that's going to go down, disrupt it. Ski eliminated Hen. 2 more medkits, and he takes it, playing it safe, securing the VR, no risk needed.
The disruption was there and at the perfect time, stopping the heal off possibility. And it was looking shaky. It was looking scary there a little bit for Hen and Vaske when they dropped down to try to defend and get those eliminations, but he made the smart play. He ran away, played his heals, and took the game. Welcome to the FNCS Grand Finals.
That was just game 1, 3 matches to be played out. Jacob, it's all about consistency and making it to these late games, but this was the most stacked match that we've seen throughout all the semifinals. It is a completely different realm today.
Yep, you got to go ahead and give credit though. Diox and Cade, the name of the game is going to be consistency, and you got to imagine the amount of points them and Hen and Vaske, the eventual winners of that match, have picked up to try to solidify that spot. You got to think it's all but guaranteed, right, Takata?
You gotta think. Look, normally I'd be saying they won the match, they're going to the grand finals, but it's consistency, so we have to take a look at that leaderboard. And for that, we're gonna go back to Frankie, Levin, and Minnie.